Joining me on the program today to speak unedited is Senate Pro Tem Lonnie Paxton joining us once again. Thanks for coming up the turnpike for me. I appreciate it.
You bet. Thanks for having me.
I do want to start. Obviously, the big talkers are from the Department of Education. I've heard a lot of frustration from lawmakers, including on your side, about it has been a summer of promises, and we'll go over those promises just real quick. The superintendent asked people to donate money to country music star Lee Greenwood for Bibles for all children. Bibles have not arrived. We don't know how much money was raised. Free school lunch, PragerU test, American Virtual Academy, and testing changes. None of this has state board or legislative approval, and it doesn't seem like he wants it. How do you respond to you being left out when you guys are the ones with the power?
Right. Most all those will require money to do, or they require legislation to change those. So I just take them as they come, and we kind of put that in the toolbox of things we need to work on for the legislative session. But yeah, most everything you just mentioned requires legislative approval, or at the very least state board approval, which none of that has been sought for any of these things. So we'd be happy to talk about it. We'd be happy to work with the superintendent to, maybe institute some of those things, but there's a legislative process for it to go through. So far, none of that has happened. All this has came out since the legislature adjourned in May, and it's like every week there's something new that pops up on the scene.
Until we hear from you all, we just need to go about business as usual. Is that right?
Well, I would think there's things within the purview of the power of the superintendent, and those things he's certainly, free to continue to do as a superintendent of education. But a lot of things where you're changing policy, that can't be done by a department head. That has to be worked through the legislature.
I am concerned because I did follow your confirmation hearings. This is a fresh board approved by the Senate. Seems like he doesn't want to do business with them, especially after whatever happened on his office TV.
Right.
Is that frustrating that he's not honoring the board that you all have confirmed?
Well, this is a board that was appointed by Governor Stitt, confirmed by the state Senate, and he doesn't have a choice. He has to work with that board. I mean, that was put in place the proper way, and the governor appointed them. The Senate confirmed them, and so he needs to work with them and try to make things happen that's for the better of our schools. Regardless of what happened on that day, that is still in a investigative mode. The sheriff of Oklahoma County, along with OSBI, did an investigation on that. They've turned their results over to Vicki Behanna, the district attorney of Oklahoma County, and we're waiting on those results. And so that's kind of where I'm at on that. And I don't really want to comment about the specifics of that thing because I don't know. That's why we have investigators that are doing that. And I think they are all very well capable. So we're waiting on that. But with that being said, you've got school board members that are doing their job, and the superintendent needs to work with those school board members to make sure we can move things forward. We get caught up a lot on things that really don't have a lot of effect on the overall outcome of our education of our kids. I think the big story is beyond what was on that TV that day is that we got ranked in a national ranking as 50th in education in the nation. That's unacceptable, and we have to figure out a way to make that better. So whether it's their fault, my fault, whoever's fault it really doesn't matter. Let's figure out what the solutions are, because our kids deserve better than what we're giving them right now.
Is it frustrating, though? Because some of these are decent ideas. Yeah. You didn't hear a peep about this when you all were actually in session. This all came in the middle of summer.
My one-on-ones with the superintendent, he has great ideas. There's some things there I think that's a really neat thing to do. We talked about a deal last year that had to do with our educators who go out in summertime, get a part-time job working somewhere to help make ends meet. That's not uncommon. That's been going on forever. But he had an idea, rather than them going and working at a convenience store, at a department store, why not pay them as tutors to help these kids who are behind on their reading? That's a fantastic idea. I mean, why not hire the people that know how to do it the best to go do that? And it'd be better for that teacher, it'd be better for the student, it'd be better for the state. But I haven't seen a whole lot of aggressive implementation of that program, and that's just one example. So one-on-one, he has some great ideas. I wish we would maybe spend less time in front of a TV camera and more time working on those ideas.
I think a lot of people are shocked to hear you even say there was an idea like that.
Yep.
But we will move on. Obviously, new headline every day, but I do.
Listen, I need, the students in Oklahoma need Superintendent Walters to do a great job. I'm pulling for him. I want him to do a good job. We seem to get distracted a lot. I would like to get the focus back on educating our kids, supporting our teachers, and making sure we're the best outcomes that we can have.
Something big that did happen this summer, and I am concerned because a lot of spending is coming back on the state, is changes to Soonercare and SNAP. The governor said on this program 2 weeks ago, if you're on Soonercare and SNAP, don't worry. This sounds expensive, and you all are on a path to zero. Right. Seems like at least the path to zero is going to be slowing down. we're not going to be able to get to that finish line as fast. Are you concerned about this additional spending?
Well, sure. You look at how the path to zero works. That this plays into that. So it would be very difficult to continue that path with all the new requirements that are going on. When it comes to the governor's comments about no one will be left off of that, that's a great goal, and I hope we can accomplish that. But the other thing is Soonercare and all those programs are, maybe we can get our economy really, really booming in Oklahoma where not as many people need to be on those programs. That would be the overall best benefit, is that we can find people great jobs. We can have an economy that is bustling so well that there's plenty of good opportunities out there, so not as many people need to be on that program. That'd be the way to solve that problem.
Are you concerned that you will have to at least tweak the system, because obviously there are new work requirements and things like that?
Right.
I'm just worried it's so complex that someone's going to be at the least inconvenienced.
Right, and it is. I mean, you started off 2 or 3 sentences. Are you concerned? Absolutely, I'm concerned. There's always things to be concerned about. You think about not just as a group of people, but the individuals that's involved in this, and how does that affect them personally? Yes, I'm concerned that that we tweak these systems every year. There's things to do, but you go back. You mentioned work requirements. So if you're a young, able-bodied adult who has the ability to work, we need to make sure there is every opportunity for you not to be a part of these programs, not because we're just throwing you off, but because you got off on your own because you found a great job. And we don't need to be using tax dollars to support people who can support themselves. Saying that, I have no problem helping support those people who can't help themselves, but just kind of getting to the point that we won't have the ability to take care of those who just won't help themselves. So I think we'll continue to work on that. But if you're a young, able-bodied person who's on some of these programs, you might want to consider maybe working a little bit harder to find a great job, and maybe we as a state can work a little harder to make sure those jobs are out there.
Let me ask you this. You came over to the tribal side of the state pretty much, and the governor and the city of Tulsa have had some nasty words between each other. You've been in the legislature a while. The legislature seems like the middleman when it comes to these tribal relations. Where are you all at now with this whole tribal relations fight? Is it just bear it one more year? Because it seems like some of these gubernatorial candidates have been like, hang on, I'm coming. Like, where do you all stand right now? Do you continue to try to be that middleman for the next session, or?
Well, sure. We're reaching out. So the Speaker Hilbert and I, we actually travel together sometimes to go meet with the tribal leaders. In fact, we met with Chuck Hoskins last week. Of course, the chief of the Cherokee Nation. We were in Tahlequah for the day and visited with him and visited some of the things that they partnered with in Tahlequah to make great things for Oklahoma. We're doing that as much as we can. So, middleman, maybe that's the right way to put it, but we just, there's a legislative branch of government, and so the legislative branch is working very hard together as a House and a Senate to go make sure that we build these inroads and we have these conversations. There's nobody in the state I'm going to agree with 100% of the time, including tribal leaders, but we agree enough that we can get along and get a lot of great things accomplished. And every one of their tribal citizens within the state of Oklahoma are also Oklahomans. And so we have a lot of the same problems. We have a lot of the same goals and a lot of the same needs for the people that we get to have the honor to serve.
So let me ask you, the big tribal thing was sports betting this last session. I think the last official remarks we heard from you was there will be an interim study. It came so close in your chamber. I can't tell you the comments I got. Oh man, it felt like one vote away. Where are we at on sports betting, or do we wait for that next governor? Because you do have candidates out there saying, like I said, wait for me, I will do it.
It wasn't that close. It wasn't that close to happening. There was a lot of complexity to it, and so a lot of the bill's work that went through session was kind of with title off, which means it was a work in progress. We will continue. We've talked to the tribal leaders about that, about what they'd like to see, but there's a lot of moving parts. Not only are there a lot of tribes in Oklahoma that have different interests in what they want in this, there's also the state of Oklahoma. Then you have like the NBA teams, and it's and college teams. How does all this fit together? So yes, we will continue to work on it. That is a conversation point that we've had with the tribes, as what do we need to do to move forward. It's not paused. It's still a work in progress. And I know Senator Coleman's been one that's been working in the Senate very hard on that. He's continuing to work on it and trying to find what is the right path to make that work.
Are you all still willing to do this without the governor? next session. I mean, it came very close to the people's referendum,
Right.
or
The
legislative referendum, I think is the term.
I would love to find a way to work with the governor on every topic that we work with. And there's some things that, that he is very much behind that we want to work with. There's things that he has opposition to that maybe we can find a solution that fits everybody. I think that's a pretty tall order to find something that Governor Stitt would agree with and the tribes would agree with and all these sports teams would agree with and the legislature would agree with. It's a pretty tough deal to make that happen. But I'm not one of those that says let's just wait one more year because the Governor Stitt won't be the governor anymore. We keep pushing things down the road. I think there's ways to accomplish lots of things, and I would love to have the governor working with us to make that happen.
Senator, you live in the Oklahoma City area. You don't come up often, but I'm blessed to have you. Do you have anything you'd like to mention to the folks while we have you in studio that we didn't touch on?
Yeah, I always love coming up here. I've been up in the Tulsa area much more than I have in my entire life this last year, and I think this is probably trip 10 or 15. It seems like I'm up here a lot, and so love the community, finding my way around town a lot better than I used to, and we continue to enjoy it. But Oklahoma is a great place to live. I've got 4 children here. My wife was a public school teacher here for 30 years before she retired last year. Love everything about the state. There's always things that we can do better and make Oklahoma a better place to live. But I always end most every speech I give by saying this. I'm going to do everything I can do, with all else said and done, whether it's gaming or education, whatever it is. What can the legislature do to make this state the kind of place that our kids and grandkids will want to stay and live in? Because I've got 4 kids, and when I have grandkids someday, I hope I can run across town to go watch the T-ball game, not have to go run to another state to watch the T-ball game. So that's my goal, is how do we keep our kids and grandkids here in Oklahoma so that, that they can enjoy what we've enjoyed growing up and that we can all stay together as families.
Senator, thank you for stopping by.
You
I
bet.
appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.